Hi, and welcome back to From Writer to Author, the podcast. I'm thrilled you're here for episode 4, where we're diving deep into one of the most important steps in writing a book, creating a solid, strategic outline that keeps you focused and moving forward from start to finish. I know a lot of writers feel overwhelmed at this stage. You have a brilliant idea floating in your head, maybe a few scribbled notes on a napkin, and suddenly the blank page is staring back at you like a dare. Go ahead, try to write something meaningful. Believe me, I've been there. And if you're nodding along right now thinking, yes, that's me, you're going to love this episode because I'm going to show you how I turn ideas into organized, actionable outlines that allow me to write books in record time, most times in under 30 days. Let's start with a confession. Remember my first book from 2015 that I talked about in episode 1? Yeah, the one that flopped? I literally just wrote one chapter at a time, hoping everything would magically fit together at the end. Spoiler alert, it didn't. I lost track of my flow multiple times. Chapters meandered, I got frustrated, and I wouldn't be surprised if readers felt that confusion too. That failure taught me something invaluable though. If you don't outline, you're just wandering in the dark with a flashlight that might not even work. Every book I've written since, especially my Fun Things to Do in Retirement series, starts with a carefully thought out outline before I even attempt to write a word. And I'm not talking about a vague, I'll figure it out as I go outline. I'm talking detailed, chapter by chapter, outcome-focused outlines that give me a roadmap and a framework to write from. That's why I can write books in under 30 days. Clarity makes speed possible. So here's what I do, and fair warning, it might seem a little old school compared to some younger writers who live in fancy software and apps, but it works every time. Step 1 is I brain dump. Once I've validated my idea, we talked about finding the sweet spot in episode 3, I grab a notebook, find a quiet corner, and write down everything that comes to mind about that topic. Absolutely everything. At this point, there are no rules. It could take 20 minutes. It could take 20 hours. Sometimes I'll even wake up in the middle of the night thinking, oh, I really need to include this. And that goes in the notebook too. I do this until I run out of possible content related to the book. Step 2 is I categorize ideas. Next, I open a Word document and start organizing the ideas into logical categories for the books. Anything that doesn't seem to fit, I save it for a later project. Any categories that seem light on content, I do some research online, check Facebook groups, and see what other authors are including in similar books. By the end of this step, I have the bones of my book. Step 3, I create an outline. Now comes the fun and sometimes tricky part. I take those categories and I start turning them into chapters. I start broad and drill down into the details. I focus on flow, making sure each chapter naturally leads to the next. And here's the secret sauce. I always make sure every chapter has a clear outcome or takeaway for the reader. Inspiration alone isn't enough. You want them to leave with actionable ideas, a plan, or even just a new perspective. Let me give you a real-life example. My first couple of social media books, I wrote about what I wanted, not what the readers needed. They didn't really sell well, not because the content was bad, but because I hadn't done the research. I assumed my expertise in the subject alone would be enough, but it wasn't. When I started working with my book coach, I learned the importance of research. That's when I transitioned to writing my Fun Things to Do in Retirement series. I researched topics, looked at demographic trends, and listened to what people actually wanted. The results? My first 2 books in that series went directly to Amazon bestseller and even international bestseller lists. My monthly royalties went from absolute 0 to currently 250 plus in under a year. And yes, I felt more confident, more purposeful, and more motivated than ever before. I'll be honest, the toughest part for me is getting the flow right and making sure every chapter really delivers. I want readers to finish each one feeling like they've gained something, a clear takeaway, a new idea, or a plan they can actually use. Sometimes I just want to make them smile. Sometimes if I leave too much time between starting and finishing an outline, I lose all focus. New ideas start popping into my head, and before I know it, the original project feels old or uninspiring. That's why I try to keep the momentum going once I start. No long pauses, no "I'll get back to it tomorrow," that sometimes turns into next month or next year. And then there are those chapters that just don't call to me. You know, the ones you start typing and halfway through the sentence you think, nope, not today. And that's okay. Skip it. Move on to a chapter that actually excites you. Or take a short break to recharge. The key is not letting one stubborn chapter hold your entire book hostage. Here's what I recommend to make your outline rock solid. Number 1, clarity first. Before you write a single word, get clear on what you're actually trying to say. What's the topic of the chapter? What do you want your reader to walk away with when they finish? Clarity keeps you focused and prevents you from wandering down side roads that confuse your message. When you know exactly where you're headed, your reader will too, and they'll trust you to guide them there. 2, do your research. Even if you know your topic really well, it's worth checking what's already out there. Hop onto Amazon and browse books in your niche. What's selling? What's missing? What are readers asking for in the reviews? Visit Facebook groups or online forums where your ideal readers hang out. Listen to what they're struggling with and what they're curious about. When you understand what people want and need, you can shape your content to serve them better. And that's what sells books. Number 3, logical flow. Think of your book like a roadmap. Each chapter should lead smoothly into the next. Organize your content so ideas build on each other, not compete for attention. If you can, outline the journey your reader will take from start to finish. Then use transitions and short recaps to guide them along the way. A logical flow keeps readers engaged and makes your book feel cohesive and professional, not like a random collection of thoughts. Number 4, flexible writing. Let's be real, not every chapter will spark joy in you. Some sections just won't excite you, and that's okay. If you hit a wall, skip ahead to a chapter you do feel inspired to write. Momentum is more important than perfection. Just make sure to circle back later. Unfinished sections have a way of haunting you if you leave them too long. Flexibility keeps you productive and helps you avoid burnout. Number 5, focus on outcomes. Every chapter should have a purpose. Ask yourself, what do I want my reader to understand, feel, or do after reading this? Whether it's gaining clarity, taking actions, or seeing something from a new perspective, your chapter should guide them toward a result. Books that deliver real outcomes, not just information, are the ones readers recommend, remember, and rave about. And a little bonus tip. When I notice that a category or chapter feels a bit weak, like something's missing or it just doesn't have the same spark as the others, I take a short detour into research mode. I'll hop online, browse articles, or check out what readers are saying in reviews of similar books. Those reviews are gold mines of honest feedback. Readers will tell you exactly what they love, what they didn't, and what they wished had been included. That's often where I find fresh angles, new examples, or ideas to strengthen a chapter. Sometimes it's as simple as realizing I didn't explain something clearly enough, or that readers are craving a practical how-to where I only gave a theory. This quick research not only fills in the gaps, it helps make your content richer, more relevant, and more valuable to your audience. Here's the mindset you need. Some days, writing a chapter might feel like pulling teeth. The words won't come, ideas feel flat, and motivation is hiding under the couch. And that's okay. On those days, give yourself permission to skip a section, pivot to a different chapter, or even take a short break. The key is consistency over time, showing up day after day, even when it's tough. Keep pushing forward and trust that momentum builds slowly but surely. Remember this simple formula. Clarity plus structure equals momentum. When you know exactly what you want to say and have a roadmap to guide you, writing becomes less like wandering in the dark and more like following a well-lit path. By outlining strategically, you're doing more than just creating order. You're creating freedom. Freedom to write quickly without second-guessing every sentence. Freedom to stay on track without getting lost in tangents. Freedom to give your readers exactly what they need in the order that makes the most sense. That freedom is what separates a stressful, slogging process from a smooth, enjoyable, and productive writing journey. If there's one thing I want you to take away from today's episode, it's this: clarity creates speed. A strong, strategic outline is your secret weapon. It helps you write efficiently. It keeps your chapters connected, and it ensures that your readers get the results they're looking for. If you want extra guidance as you move from idea to outline to finished book, sign up for my From Writer to Author newsletter at www.goldspielcreativeenterprises.com or click the link in the show notes below. Every week you'll get tips, strategies, and inspiration delivered straight to your inbox. Next week we'll dive into episode 5, The Truth About Perfectionism and Why It's Killing Your Book. We'll explore how perfectionism creeps into your writing process, slows your progress, and convinces you that nothing you write is ever quite good enough. I'll also share my own experience about how I discovered that my perfectionism was secretly setting me up to fail, and what I finally did to help break free from it. Plus, I'll give you practical tips to quiet that inner critic, build self-confidence, and keep moving forward in your writing journey. See you next week.